If Symantec's Winfax Pro is your preferred faxing system, you will need to install the Winfax plugin to enable Reform Enterprise to automatically and seamlessly deliver your application's outbound fax documents. Go to the Start button and select Settings. Open your system's control panel and then select Add or Remove Programs. Scroll down the list of applications until you find Reform Enterprise. Click to highlight Reform Enterprise. You will see two buttons appear, a Change and Remove button. If you are using Windows XP, you will need to click on the Change button. If you are using a previous version of Windows, you will need to click on the Add Remove button. A maintenance window will appear. Make sure Modify is selected, and then click on the Next button to continue. Scroll down the list of features until you locate the Winfax plugin. Click on the Winfax plugin. Click Next to begin installing the fax plugin. Click Finish to complete the installation. Note that you must restart Reform for the fax plugin to initialize. Close out of the control panel. Click on the Start button and then select Programs. From the Programs menu, select Reform Enterprise. Now that the Winfax plugin has been installed, you will have some fax setup instructions available to you. Click on the Winfax plugin setup to open the instructions. Use this document to reference and troubleshoot setup information. Scroll down to view the whole document. All the information available here will also be covered in this lesson. Close out of these instructions and open up Reform's Designer program, and we will set up a form for faxing. In the Designer, click on File, and then select and click on Open. From the Open dialog box, select the form that you want to assign faxing properties to. Then click Open. Be sure to open the associated text file, then click over to the text layer. The text layer is where Reform retrieves the needed information that it will use to fax your outbound documents. Click on where it says Special Fields on the menu bar. In the drop-down menu, select and click on Include Company Lookup field. A color-coded object box will appear. Drag the box over where the client's company name appears. Adjust the box appropriately so it doesn't interfere with any other text on your form. Click on Special Fields. From the drop-down menu, select and click on Include Fax Name field. Drag the box over the area where the name appears of the person who will be receiving the fax. Click on Special Fields and then select and click on Include Fax Number field. Drag the box over the area where your client's fax number appears. Be sure not to include any additional text. Click on Special Fields and then select and click on Include Subject Field. Drag the box over text that you want to appear in the subject line of your outgoing faxes. Click on Special Fields and then select and click on Include Notes field. Select some text that you want to see under the Notes heading of your outgoing fax's cover page. I will use the date and the purchase order number. Once you have defined your Special Fields business rules, click back over to the design layer. The Special Fields information appears on the design layer for quick referencing. Drag the object boxes over the right side of the form for easy reading. To direct Reform to use a specific cover page for your outgoing faxes, click on the Options button from the menu bar. Select Automation and then click on Fax Cover Page. A dialog box will appear. Click on the Open Folder icon to browse your fax system's folders. From the Winfax folder, select and click on the Cover subfolder. Here you will find a selection of cover pages to choose from. I will use Winfax's default page as my cover page. Once you've highlighted your selection, click Open to continue. The path and file name to your Winfax cover page will appear in the Reform dialog box. Click OK to continue. Click on the word File and then select Page Setup from the menu. In the Page Setup window, make sure the Send To button is selected. Then click on the down arrow of the Transport Type box. Select Winfax from the list. Now click on the Setup button. If you need to add a prefix number for your outgoing calls, such as a number 1 for your out-of-state calls, or a number 9 for your outgoing calls on a PBX phone system, enter it here, then click OK. Click on the Attachment Setup button. It is recommended that you use the settings that appear in the fax instructions document that we saw earlier. Click OK to continue. Click OK to exit the Page Setup window. Make sure to save your settings. Click on the word File and then from the menu, click on Save. Close out of Reform's Designer. Now direct your application to print the document that you have just assigned faxing properties to. This will place a text file of the document in Reform's spooling directory. For purposes of this lesson, let's take a closer look at the text file in the spooling directory. Use Windows Explorer to browse for the Reform spooler folder. The spooling directory on this system is located within the C drive under Reform and then Spooler. Double-click on the Spooler folder to open it. The text file is waiting in the Spooler folder to be processed by Reform's Spooler program. When the spooler is activated, it will combine this text file with its corresponding form overlay and process them together as a single form to Winfax. Close out of Windows Explorer and activate Reform's Spooler program. Reform's Spooler program will begin to process your faxes seamlessly, sending them to Winfax's outbox, without any further input by the user. Double-click on one of the outgoing faxes to get a closer look at it. Double-click on page 1 to get a closer look at the fax cover page. Notice that all the information that we cropped earlier from Reform's Designer appears here on the fax cover page. So to quickly summarize this lesson, remember to install the Winfax plugin through Reform via Add Remove Programs within your Windows control panel. Use the fax instructions from the Programs Reform menu to review the installation process. Use the special field object boxes within the text layer of Reform's Designer to extract fax information from the text layer. And make sure to assign Winfax as the transport type in the page setup window. Reform's Spooler program will seamlessly combine and process the information and send it automatically to your fax system with no additional handling from the user. Simply print from the application and Reform will do the rest. This process needs only to be completed once. Each subsequent document or form of this type will then be faxed automatically.